Greetings fellow LEGO fans, greetings fellow space fans, welcome back to my channel. Fly me to the moon, still the theme. Yeah, in this video we'll talk about the Saturn V, the launch vehicle for the Apollo 11 spacecraft. And yeah, I think let's jump right into it. But first, one more thing. Check out that cool shirt I made. If you want one too, get it at my Teespring store. Link is in the description below. Look at it. Especially for the anniversary of Apollo 11 mission. And of course, in LEGO style. So, if you want such cool shirts, go to my Teespring store now. Well, good thing this baby is split into 3 main stages. It's a bit hard to get it completely into the picture, but well, looks like I'm doing pretty fine. Yeah, so this here is the Saturn V, for those who didn't get it by now. Yeah, mostly referred to as the 3 stages, first stage, second stage and third stage. Partly in this video I will insert an animation from another great YouTuber, Jared Owen. I hope he doesn't mind. I'll show credit and put link to his videos in the video description, and I think it will make it a bit easier and nicer to see some details than to just wobble around in the picture with this beast. So let's talk a bit about the Saturn V. Well, about, I would say 99%, no, 95% of it are just the launch vehicle, from here up to here. The actual spacecraft is hidden here inside, the landing module, also called Eagle, and here we have the service module and the command module hidden under the escape launch system. We'll come to that a bit later. And yeah, those stages also have their technical names, and I think it's easier to show the animation now. Each mission was launched from Cape Canaveral in Florida and controlled by Mission Control in Houston, Texas. The rocket has a height of 363 feet or 110 meters, and here I have the size of a normal person for comparison, or a Boeing 747. Each of the 3 stages has also its technical name, as I said before. First stage is also referred to as the S1C, powered by 5 F1 rocket engines. The S2 is powered by 5 J2 engines. And finally the S4B stage, also powered by a J2 rocket engine, but this time only a single one. The actual spacecraft was stored atop of the rocket inside the so-called spacecraft lunar module adapter, and was shielded during launch by 4 panels. And above the lunar lander there is the service module with the engine and fuel cells to enter and leave lunar orbit, and also all the technical equipment needed for the mission. At the top there was the command module where the crew spent most of the time. And finally, at the tip of the rocket there's the so-called launch escape system, which would separate the command module from the rest in case something went wrong during launch. Yeah, so much for the main parts of this powerful rocket. Of course, before it could start, it had to be transferred from the vehicle assembly building to the launch pad, and this happened upright. It was situated on the so-called crawler with an insane speed of 1 mile per hour. I think it took them 5 hours to get to the pad. The crawler also had to level it out, as there was a little hill climbing included on the way, so it would lift the back, so the platform would be leveled and the whole structure wouldn't tip over. And that I'll show you now. Yeah, as you've seen, it wasn't really a high-speed chase, and yeah, the footage was actually from Apollo 13. I didn't find the Apollo 11 footage, but anyway, thanks to NASA. Once the rocket was in place, the 3 astronauts could enter the command module, and to do that they had the elevator to the top service arm on the umbilical tower and entered the command module through the white room. And after everything was set and ready, everything was go for takeoff. The engines were ignited a few seconds before liftoff, and the moment the rocket boosted away, the rest of the service arms moved to the side, and so the rocket could clear the umbilical tower. That alone took I think about 12 seconds till it was completely out of the way. But that tall, with that weight, massive acceleration, thanks to those babies. And what the launch of the Apollo 11 mission really looked like, I'll show you now. Here's the original footage.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Tower cleared.
We got a roll program.
Neil Armstrong reporting the roll and pitch program, which puts Apollo 11 on a proper heading. Plus 30 seconds.
Roll complete and pitch program.
So the 3 had the ride of their lifetime. During acceleration they had to endure forces of about 4G, so 4 times gravity, and which means they had to feel 4 times their own weight pushing on them. Yeah. And after 2 minutes and 42 seconds into flight, the first stage shuts off at a height of about 42 miles or 67 kilometers, and is released from the second stage and simply falls back into the Atlantic Ocean. Shortly after, the second stage ignites and the 5 J2 engines continue pushing the rest of the launch vehicle and the spacecraft forward. Also, the launch escape system is no longer needed and is released from the command module, as now everything would work out fine. Even if there's a problem, they are high enough so they can get safely back down to Earth even without the launch escape system. And after 9 minutes and 12 seconds we reach a height of 109 miles or 175 kilometers. That's the time when the second stage is shut off and the third stage is released. The third stage powers up for a short amount of time to get the rest of the vehicle into the so-called parking orbit. And what the parking orbit is, we'll now look a bit closer at the nice animation. The parking orbit is reached at a height of 118 miles or 190 kilometers, and now we're into flight 11 minutes and 39 seconds when the third stage engine is cut off. After this cutoff, the third stage doesn't detach from the rest of the vehicle as it's needed later for another boost sequence. So, how high is the parking orbit? Well, the Kármán line, considered to be the start of outer space, lies at 62 miles, and the ISS orbits at the height of 249 miles. And most satellites orbit between here and high Earth orbit at 22,000 miles. It's called the parking orbit because you can't stay here for very long, but it will do the job to keep us up for as long as we need to be. After about 2 hours orbiting Earth and checking that all systems work fine, it's time for the translunar injection. This means the third stage is ignited one more time for about 6 minutes, and that brings us directly on course to the moon. After the 6 minutes, the S4B or third stage is burned up and now useless, so the panels of the lunar module adapter detach and set the module free. Now the CSM or command and service module, as they are called as long as they are combined, has to do a 180-degree turn, dock with the lander and pull it out. And now the actual spacecraft is set free. As the conditions in outer space are rather unfriendly for most materials, they thought of a procedure to keep the spacecraft from burning or freezing. Look at that! The spacecraft was put into a slow roll to guarantee an even heat distribution and keep everything intact. This was called the passive thermal control, or nicknamed the barbecue roll. Well, I think that's a pretty smart move to take control of that problem. And as the spacecraft continues its way to the moon, Moon's gravity changes the way the spacecraft flies, and so it is put on the free return trajectory, which is used in case something is going wrong. So just like a slingshot, the spacecraft would be launched back directed to planet Earth. But as long as everything goes right, it's time to insert into lunar orbit. As the spacecraft flies around the moon, the service module's engine is fired up for a short time to slow the spacecraft down and enter Moon's orbit. During this time there's no contact to mission control as the spacecraft is on the far side of the Moon, and so mission control just had to sit tight and hope everything will work out and wait for the spacecraft to appear again so they could check if everything went right. And as we know, everything on the far side of the Moon went right. And yeah, now would be time to start the main event, but not in this video. Stay tuned, I'll show you more about the mission in the next one. Tune in then, see ya, bye bye. The parking orbit, but as long as everything goes wrong,